sons of Ted DiBiase, and of course Dusty Rhodes have all been a driving force behind Vince McMahon. He's had a hand in all these characters. So really, at the end of the day, is Triple H and Stephanie the ones who are distributing these characters, or are they just taking credit for distributing them? Triple H has said in in-ring promos that everything in the WWE one day is going to be his when Vince McMahon is dead and buried. But I think we're a long way away from seeing that, and I think that Triple H still has a lot to learn when it comes to both, running a business and the politics of the business. Another thing that really irritated me about Triple H some time ago was when he actually shot on the internet community that he believed didn't know anything about the politics of professional wrestling. And I think I can go on record for saying there are more fans of wrestling on the internet that know more about politics when it comes to professional wrestling than what we're ever given credit for. There are more fans that read these news articles on sites like ProWrestling.com, PW Insider, Figure 4 Online, Online World of Wrestling, who know more about politics, and there are more, hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions, of people who log on to these professional wrestling news websites that are always updating consistently every 25 to 30 minutes every day on the hour. There's new items being posted, and there are fans that religiously follow these wrestling news websites. So somewhere down the line, you have to learn something about the politics that go on with professional wrestling. And I go back to that promo. I never did post it on our Facebook page or tweet it for you on our Twitter, that Triple H and Booker T went back and forth with in the ring on Monday Night Raw Super Show a couple of weeks prior to WrestleMania 31 and Triple H's match with Sting, which was a great match. The thing is, Triple H loves to shoot on people who criticize the WWE because he knows he can get away with it because he's been there since 1995. Really, what has Triple H done on his own? Prior to coming to WWE, he worked with World Championship Wrestling in the Power Plant. He was under the tutelage of William Regal. He learned a great deal from Regal. But really, what did he do when he arrived in WWE in 1995? He looked at Vince McMahon. He said he wanted an opportunity. That was the only legit thing he did in a promo prior to his match with Sting this year at WrestleMania 31. Vince McMahon gave him that opportunity. But once Vince McMahon gave him the opportunity and the money to run with his gimmick in WWE, what did he do? He slept his way to the top. He dated the boss's daughter, and he slept with her to the top of the wrestling business, and that's the only reason why Triple H is in the position that he's in now. If not for that, Triple H probably wouldn't have been a 13 or 14-time world champion, whatever the hell he's up to now. Who really cares how many times Triple H has won the championship? He would have never gotten anywhere in the professional wrestling business. He probably would be the first match on Raw and SmackDown every week if he were still wrestling, and he never did date the boss's daughter. And that's why Triple H has been handed everything on a silver platter since arriving on the scene in WWE in 1995. If he would have stayed with World Championship Wrestling, he probably would have gotten nowhere with his wrestling career, and he'd be a nobody years later in 2015. But because of how he got to where he got, in professional wrestling, he made the friends that he did, the allies that he did as part of the clique, and he got to be a 13 or 14-time champion that had so many honors given to him because Vince McMahon and all the WWE executives believed that Triple H had it back in the 90s, and he had really what it took to run with WCW in the Monday Night War, which obviously he was a huge contributing factor to how WWE got over because of all the outrageous things that himself and Degeneration X and everybody he was affiliated with did, from DX to Evolution to everything Triple H did throughout his wrestling career. He always had a hand in the creative process in WWE. Now, I do have some respect for Triple H and Stephanie because they were the only two that were given that responsibility of running WWE after Shane McMahon said, "The hell with this," which obviously was derived from how WWE was believed to have no creative control or no creative direction when Shane sold his stock and got out of WWE. But I think that Shane McMahon shouldn't be blamed for wanting to leave WWE because he realized there was no creative control or no creative direction in WWE, and he knew how crazy Triple H and Stephanie were when it came to running the product and wanting power. Just power was given to them day after day after day, and Shane said somewhere down the line, the hell with this, I don't want to have anything to do with it, and he left to go to the MMA or anything else to do with sports outside of the WWE. I got to respect that because he realized what direction WWE was headed in. What I don't respect is how Triple H and Stephanie have been running WWE and getting away with so much, and nobody has the balls to say anything to them. The only one who really had anything to say to Triple H and Stephanie was CM Punk, and that got CM Punk in a match with Triple H back in 2011 at that Night of Champions year's pay-per-view. But the thing is, CM Punk at least had the balls to say what he did. He may have lost to Triple H, but at least he was one of the only new talented wrestlers that really said how he felt about how Triple H and Stephanie were running roughshod over the WWE, and people like John Cena and Randy Orton kind of followed in the footsteps of CM Punk, and I'm really depressed that CM Punk is still not under contract with WWE with how many fans chant his name after he quit back in 2012, 2013. Still really depressed. We haven't seen the return of CM Punk, hoping to see that by the end of 2015 in the weeks to follow in the fallout of WrestleMania 31, because that would be awesome if we did see CM Punk return. I'm still hoping, I'm still high on a return for CM Punk. And this whole Sting Triple H storyline, it's getting better every week. But I want to see more than one match done between Sting and Triple H at WrestleMania 31. You know, one match is one thing, but I mean, we could see a no-holds-barred match or a Hell in a Cell match. Something in the way of a series needs to be done between Sting and Triple H. I really like how Sting is all of a sudden showing up for the first time in 15 years, and now he has a personal grudge against Triple H, you know, derived from all the personal grudges and issues that he's had with the McMahon family and the WWE ever since they purchased WCW back in 2001, 2002, and it's been purchased since 14 years ago, and everybody's been kind of just showing up and leaving periodically in WWE, and that one name that never has shown up in WWE has ever been Sting, and now finally he's there, and now he has a personal grudge against the McMahons and Triple H, and this is obviously why this match was derived for WrestleMania 31. And I want to see a series between Sting and Triple H. I mean, one match is one thing, but I mean, really, does one match settle all this issue that's been going on between Sting and the McMahon family since 2004, 2005, when Sting released that very controversial YouTube video? More than one match needs to be done to bury the hatchet between Sting and the McMahon family and Triple H, who obviously Sting has something against for running WWE. And there have been a lot of rumors about how, you know, if the Authority ever left WWE because of the results of the Sting Triple H match, what could be in the aftermath? What could we see in the fallout of WrestleMania 31? A possible World Championship Wrestling reunion, a possible NWO reunion, Sting taking over as the COO or one of the principal owners of WWE. There's also an interesting scenario of how Vince McMahon is believed to be the one behind Sting being there in the WWE and really being the poster child of WWE here in early 2015. It's believed that Vince McMahon is the reason why Sting is going up against Triple H at WrestleMania 31. Obviously, from a creative perspective, he is the reason why Sting is going up against Triple H. But really, is Vince McMahon the reason, storyline-wise, as to why Sting, from a storyline perspective, is there feuding with Triple H? That would be interesting if Vince McMahon came out wearing a Sting mask the following night on Raw and revealed himself as the driving force behind Sting's contract and why Sting was feuding with Triple H all this time since Survivor Series, when Sting shocked the WWE Universe and shook the foundation of the entire company, and he changed the direction creatively, which is something I have a great deal of respect for Sting for doing, because not many wrestlers have shown up after an absence for so many years and changed the direction of a company in the way that Sting did at Survivor Series last year and has done ever since. I mean, Sting has only made minimal appearances on Monday Night Raw, but every time he shows up, he always changes the direction of the company, and he shows up when you least expect it to make the TV show more unpredictable and increase the ratings a little bit. And that's another huge issue that I have with Triple H and Stephanie and how they've been running WWE. It's how the ratings have always seen this slight decline from week to week to week, and one of the biggest reasons why we see the ratings declining all the time is because we see the same matches with the same 3 or 4 superstars. And I hate that, how we always see the same matches with the same 3 or 4 superstars. It's always Seth Rollins teaming with Kane and the Big Show to take on Randy Orton and some tag team partner Randy Orton will find. It's always the same 3 or 4 wrestlers given the responsibility of running the show, and it's always in a 3-on-2 handicap match, a 5-on-1 handicap match, a 5-on-2 handicap match, whatever the case may be. It's always a no-holds-barred match, if not a handicap match, a street fight, a cage match. It's the same kind of main events for Raw and SmackDown with the same ridiculous stipulations, because Triple H believes that no disqualification matches are still what wrestling fans want to see. And to some extent, yes, no disqualification matches are matches that people want to see. I'm really just surprised that the match between Sting and Triple H, their first match of what I predict is going to be a series of matches eventually by the time we reach the conclusion of 2015. Really surprised their match at WrestleMania was not a no-holds-barred match or a street fight or a cage match or even a Hell in a Cell match, because you would expect if any match on this year's WrestleMania card would have been a street fight per se, it would have been Sting and Triple H because of the personal grudge they've had against each other. And I'm really surprised we didn't get that this year for the WrestleMania 31 card, because Triple H has always been a huge fan of these no disqualification matches, these street fights, and we have not seen it between Sting and Triple H at this point. Not saying that we're not going to, but it really surprises me that we haven't. But if you go back to the McMahon-Helmsley era, one of the biggest reasons why the ratings were high back then were no disqualification matches and street fights. It's not saying that the ratings are going to be even higher if we have street fights and no disqualification matches all the time 10 years after the McMahon-Helmsley era has been buried under the hatchet, so to speak. It's not to say that the ratings are going to go up if we have these matches, but obviously this is the reason why Triple H and Stephanie have been credited to the low ratings, an all-time low record of ratings in WWE, because we see the same main events with the same 3 or 4 wrestlers, and if not a one-on-one match or a tag team match, some no-holds-barred match or street fight that we're seeing week in and week out. And there have been a lot of news posts on our Facebook page and tweets on Twitter referring to how the ratings have hit a record low. And I don't blame wrestling fans for being frustrated with the results of the ratings, because people are expecting the ratings to be higher now that people like Sting and Brock Lesnar are under Legends contracts with WWE. But here's the